hands up. Hey, got it. Take this. Everybody out on the sidewalk. Let's go. On the sidewalk. Sidewalk. Let's go. Sidewalk. Let's go. We got it covered. Everybody. Good day. Head this way. Well, the buses are coming through. Here, you have to go down the block. You know you cannot cross here, you have to go down the block.
I'm moving. Excuse me, may we cross? May we cross? Well, when the traffic stops, right.
Excuse us. You need to move over here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Not behind my arm.
Not corporate power. People power, 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 not corporate power. Come on, I know you guys see what's going on. I mean, you have a job to do. You have a job to do.
People power, not corporate power. You all can change sides, you know. This is your...
I'm here because I'm a physician. I'm actually a scientist and a capitalist. I'm not opposed to science. I'm not opposed to capitalism. I'm opposed to lies that promote corporate capitalism. And I'm opposed to junk science. I'm opposed to marketing hype, which is what GMO food is all about. If they had legitimate science, if they weren't afraid of doing appropriate testing of what they're selling, I could be in favor of it. I'm not in favor of inappropriate selling of improperly tested material.
Thank you.
Would any of you all mind answering a question about how you feel about your events today?
Yes. There's nothing really going on. Is there somebody guarding that staircase?
No commodification of nature!
Get this reaction.
No commodification of nature! Conference is closed!
of the environment!
Nature, sorry, conference is closed today. Monsanto man has turned against his handler.
Yeah.
Quick, inside! Bring it back. Should we shut down the meeting? You can pass it. Unroll your pants. Take off the merch.
Time to go home! Time to go home!
Watch the sidewalk. Straight, go the street.
Time to go home! Holiday!
San Francisco.
People in San Francisco don't want you here, so get out! That's right. That's true.
All the people is against you. All the people is against you. That's so ashamed. All the people is coming here to say,
Don't go!
No commodification of nature. Have your passes out.
How are you? Jane, I need more handouts. I do understand that.
Okay.
Now before it's too late. We don't want fish cheese in our tofu. Rat cheese and tomato, it's not right. We don't want it.
the WTO.
Back me up.
And yo, fuck you, dude! Yeah, you too, fuck you guys! That was disgusting! Come on, man, that wasn't very nice at all.
Please let me through. Thank you.
We need some people on the other side, too.
No, thanks.
No, I don't.
On your right.
There's not even, there's a picture of me getting up. Yeah. And like, I'm like in the background. Yeah, I know, I'm like 3 head and I'm like 20 head.
Hey, your last name's Jewel.
Yeah, thank you for cool.
My name's not even Jewel. My name's actually Alex, but you know, whatever.
He's really walking with the wrong crowd videotaping.
That's true.
See, we got 2 press passes right here, dude. Can I have one? I could use one, actually. Yeah, I mean, you guys are 2 people. I'm sure you can get, like, a guest in. Yeah. What's the deal?
Stones.
Press.
Go! Get away from the line! Get away from the line! Oh, where's yours? Going in. Get out the way. Just get out the way. Go in.
That's how out the way we're getting.
Best thing to do is to get out of the way. Thank you.
it okay if we're to your right here? Yeah. Oh man. Let's see. That's sturdy. Hey.
I need you off of this trash can on my side.
They're leaving.
Yes. I'm sorry? We're on mission and third.
Let's go. $64. Those me. Good.
start again if you would.
So I'm a physician. I work at San Francisco General Hospital, and I'm out here today because the city's basically slashing the health care for the poor. And they're doing so precisely at a time where they're giving tax breaks for the rich corporations. They're trying to get the corporations coming into the city to boost the economy. Basically, they're not investing in the people. I work at the General, and I see every day programs being cut, social workers being cut, clinics threatened closure, the homeless, mentally ill getting more and more homeless. It just doesn't make any sense. We basically are calling for a government to say, no, we're not going to cater to the corporations. We're going to tax them. We're going to tax their buildings. We're going to raise the revenue, and we're going to support the services that matter for the people. So that's why I'm out here.
Great. Thank you.
Sure,
Thank you very much.
They got the clubs out. Hey, they got the clubs out. You took it away. Who's walls? Who's walls? Our walls. Who's walls? Our walls. Hey, now you all know why we're anti-you. You beat the shit out of us all the time. Dude, I fucking love this thing. Oh, shit, that's fucking great. You idiot! We're all watching. We all got to get out camera. We're fighting for your kids. Or we can abide by it. Yeah, if you guys didn't fucking take our First Amendment, maybe we could abide by the law. Maybe if you didn't take our amendments at all. We're trying to abide by the law. It's making us doing seriously with corporate copy is something right now. This is unconstitutional. Our rights are being invoked. Y'all should march into that convention center and arrest all those corporate criminals. They don't care about rights. That's not who pays them. We're the easy targets. Give them Monsanto! Why don't you go in there and arrest some corporate fraudsters, not let them serve the people?
Stop fighting with the stupid cops. Go get to work.
Hey, so we're over on 4th now on the sidewalk. Where's Jeff?
Back off! Back off! Wake up! Wake up! Make way! Make way!
Check your conscience at the gate. Are you here for the people or for the corporations? Who do you work for anyway? I hope you have nightmares at night.
Do you work for the top 4%?
Come on, everybody.
Get up! Move! 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 Wait!
Keep it vigilant for that and you.
It's all about the profit.
got angry.
Yeah, ditto. But you know, such is life. Such is life. Patreon is this place.
We have delegates walking right behind us. We're gonna do this fucking yeah, it's fucking Saturday.
No, it's over.
I think someone's you guys at least get the work.
We cross behind? May we cross behind so we can get we're full press.
Okay.
Go home! Biotech, 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 go home! Go, 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 go! Not run, where you going? Let them have it. You don't need to run!
You don't need to be running at the front.
Don't run!
We got shit going now.
Sidewalk, please.
People, corporate thugs for rent. Corporate thugs for rent. That's one person.
Right home that, right?
Corporate thugs for rent.
Yeah, great. Let it up. Come on, we're all in this to protect the coming generations. They're threatening you and your children. It's time for us to fucking unite. No matter who. Get him out or down.
Excuse me? Yeah? Whoa. Got it.
Every time anything good's ever happened, it's because of this.
You don't guys.
well, they said that they were going to go back to
But when I graduated, nobody died and there were no research studentships, so, end of my beautiful career. But I then, I went into local government in the UK in education department and got involved in working together with social services and the health authorities at that time on sorting out what needed to happen to kids with disabilities who were leaving the special schools. So that took me into the whole area, and the voluntary sector was I moved from local government into the charity sector.
Get off it! The enemy is profit! Exploitation and starvation won't be solved by corporations. That's bullshit! Get off it! The enemy is profit! Exploitation and starvation won't be solved by corporations. That's bullshit! Get off it! The enemy is profit! Exploitation and starvation. Right here, we're gonna get free. Get off it!
Biggie!
I don't know if it's going to say. Okay. Let's just go down to the exhibit hall. So we got to go there. It's best.
She's on major drugs. Shame on you! Smile to cover up that smile and try to plug your ears so you can't hear what we're saying. You should be ashamed. I'm ashamed of you to kill. Come on. Exploitation and starvation won't be solved by corporations. That's bullshit. Get off it. The enemy is profit.
This. So did the state government. The state government said we're going to burn it because it's illegal. The farmers said to hell you're going to burn it. We want this stuff. And now they've made it legal and the farmers are growing it.
Widespread crop failure in Russia.
This is precisely true.
That's not
No,
really.
it's actually they are growing.
It's actually acknowledged by the state government.
Some states are still not allowing it.
Yeah, and some have rescinded the license. They tried it, they didn't like it, it died because it was less resistant to environmental fluctuations and variations, and now they've taken the license back. The farmers don't want it, the state doesn't want it, no one wants it.
The Philippine farmers are clamoring for BT corn.
No, now we're moving to the Philippines.
The Indonesian farmers are growing BT cotton.
You can
The Chinese farmers are growing BT cotton.
Of course they are.
8 million hectares.
Right, but you're not bearing in mind any of the environmental costs, and you're not bearing in mind the fact that the farmers don't want it.
The Chinese, of course the farmers want it. Why do you think they're buying the seeds?
Because they have to.
They don't have they have to. They're forcing it down their throats. They can buy any kind of seed they want. As a matter of fact, GM seeds cost twice as much as normal seeds, and the farmers are willing to pay it because it pays.
So you're using cotton
because they get high yields without the bollworm eating all their cotton and leaving them living in poverty.
So is the bollworm the reason for the cottony poverty, or is
the bollworm is the reason for the poverty?
But didn't you notice in the Cancun protest there was so much argument over the cotton subsidies in the U.S. and that was the reason for cotton poverty throughout Africa? It's not because of the bollworm, it's because of subsidies.
We all agree that the subsidies are a bad thing.
So why is our energy focused towards GM? Is cancer the problem? Why is
the
our
reason energy is focused towards GM is to improve the food system and make better crops?
Well, if you don't want these people to be in poverty, you have to stop the subsidies, which would put.
I don't want them to be in poverty. I want them to have access to the seeds that will bring them out of poverty, which is seeds that are resistant to bollworms and to corn borers.
Why don't you look at the cause for their poverty?
The cause of their poverty is a huge issue. It is not a simple matter.
And that's why we're here.
These are not the people responsible for their poverty.
Have you noticed?
These are the people, I mean, you don't get 10,000 hectares of land by accident. You have to be a rich farm owner in India to be able to have 10,000 hectares in the first instance.
Yes.
It is people who, I mean, and
there's lots of rich people in India.
Yes, I know.
Vandana Shiva is one of them.
There's a lot more people that have 1 or 2 acres.
The truth is,
there's lots of rich people. Why are there a lot of rich people in India?
You only get to get rich
because of science
you
and
only
technology.
get to afford those kinds of crops by having huge areas of land under cultivation. The majority of farmers in India over the past 10 years, when the introduction of GM crops has happened in India, have become hungrier and poorer, and that's a matter of record.
It's not. It's a lie.
No, you can look at the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization. You can look at the
Why do
statistics
you
of the
think
government of
the
India.
FAO is recommending that GM be used to alleviate poverty in the world? That is their recommendation.
And how do you think that happened?
The FAO studied the issue intensively on both sides. The FAO knew that if they came out in favor of GMOs, they were going to alienate the whole anti-GMO community. But they decided to do what they thought was right.
Because the American government was pressuring.
Oh, give me a break.
Where's your power analysis? What is your power analysis? What's your analysis of the power in the global political system?
United States rules. That's the power.
Okay, United States rules. And how do you think the power analysis? What's your power analysis of the U.S. government?
It was a democratically elected government.
Didn't the last election prove that?
So your analysis of power is the United States rules.
They came to a very difficult point.
Wait,
that's fine.
I'm just trying to link it together. You said that your power analysis is the United States rules, and then
well,
when
that's
someone
a bit
says,
simplistic,
okay, so
right?
what?
They don't rule
simplistic.
China. They don't rule China.
Okay, so but when Raj said that the United States influence on the United Nations on the FAO, you were like. You couldn't believe that what he was saying. You're saying absolutely not true. But you just said that you thought the United States ruled.
I'll tell you one place the United States does not rule, and that is in international bodies like the UN. The reason the United States doesn't support the UN very much is because all the little countries always gang up on the United States in there.
Why is that?
Because of the politics of the world. A country like the Seychelles, with just a few hundred people, gets the same vote as China with 1.3 billion.
Yeah, but it doesn't, does it?
Yes, it does. It gets the vote.
Yeah, but it doesn't really.
But
can they Council? Can they veto? The UN is organised. It's not really every country one vote.
We're all aware of how much difficulty the United States has in the Security Council of the United Nations. They don't get their way there. They didn't get their way about the Iraq War there. They didn't get the resolution they wanted, so they decided to do it.
And you think the Seychelles had as much say as the United States in those decisions in the United Nations?
No, France. The Security Council has more.
Right, so not the Seychelles.
Yeah, but when
not
Bangladesh. When it comes to
no.
votes of the General Assembly, everybody has a vote in the United Nations. And the reason why
so was the GM proposition voted to the General Assembly? I don't think it was.
The United States has failed to sign
Did you hear that?
a lot of international
treaties.
Did you hear his The United States failed to sign the Law of the Sea Treaty still. The United States has not signed the Biodiversity Convention. The United States has not signed Kyoto.
But the United States didn't have to sign a damn thing for the FAO to approve GM crops, did it?
The United
That's
States
my point, right?
had no influence on the FAO.
Oh, because but the United
How
States
would they
is
exercise
the largest
influence
single
on the
contributor
FAO?
to the United Nations system.
Most of the countries in the UN are developing countries.
I can't.
The developing countries were part of the process within the FAO, which led the FAO to recommend that GM crops be used to help alleviate poverty in the developing world. And that is a fact. And it's on paper, and it was in the front page of the New York Times the other day.
Oh, it must be true then.
I thought you just said that the developing countries were all ruled by corrupt elites, and that's why
I didn't say that. I said one of the reasons for poverty is corrupt governments.
Which we finance and create.
What are the other reasons for poverty, other than the corrupt governments?
In our government, one of the other reasons for it is lack of democratic process.
Lack of democratic process.
Yes.
What in those countries? That's what.
Lack of democratic institutions.
What is your analysis of how?
And there are a lot of cultural issues too. Right? In a lot of countries, the country is actually a collection of tribes that used to fight with each other all the time. In Africa and in the Arab countries,
and the United States.
And the United States is a melting pot. It's completely different.
Of all these different tribes that fought each other for hundreds and hundreds of thousands.
The United States is not tribal in its basis like those countries are in Africa and in the Arab countries. Those countries are socially dysfunctional in many ways, and they also end up having these corrupt dictatorial governments in place. That's why there's poverty. And the other reason there's poverty is because these people do not have private property rights. The gentleman from Peru, De Soto, has written 2 books on this, that the root cause of much of the poverty in developing countries is the fact that the people who live in the slums cannot get title to their property so that they could get a bank loan to buy a sewing machine and start a business. So the lack of private property rights is a huge reason.
Let's look at a
poverty
country that has great property rights. Let's look at the United States. And this has an amazing. The United States is the world leader in genetically modified food. Why is it that there are 34.1 million people hungry in the United States today if genetically modified food and property rights are all you need to fight poverty?
As I said earlier, sometimes I think the United States is like the world's leading experiment in social Darwinism. It's pretty much survival of the fittest. And when you have a situation like that, you end up with a lot of people at the bottom of the heap. At least there are some safety nets here, like there aren't in many other countries. But socialized medicine, like we have in Canada, I'm a Canadian, we have universal health care, and so do most of the Western European countries. Most of the industrialized countries have universal health care. The United States does not. I don't agree with that, and I wish Hillary Clinton had won her fight for universal health care in the United States. But that's one of the reasons. I mean, there's lots of other reasons too.
If there's a social Darwinist experiment going on in the United States is basically in charge of the world, you said, and there's a lot of people at the bottom. How do the people in the richest corporations, such as the richest corporations represented here,
these aren't the richest corporations.
Okay.
These are all small companies.
Pfizer, Dow,
Monsanto,
Syngenta, they're pretty wealthy. Pretty wealthy, right?
Those are 5 companies out of 3,000.
Merck is pretty wealthy, right? Okay, so some you would accept that some of these corporations,
they lose
8.6 billion, maybe, fairly wealthy. They've got some money.
General Motors is a big company.
But they're still pretty wealthy corporations. In your view of the social Darwinist, experiment, like how do these rich corporations?
It as a metaphor.
Okay, well, speak from your heart then. If you're gonna every time I start to inquire into a metaphor, you say you kind of deflect it over there.
Okay,
how do these corporations, in your view of the power analysis of the United States and international politics, how do rich corporations fit into that power analysis and the people who move in positions between the rich corporations and the governments that are supposed to regulate those rich corporations?
You call it rich corporations. I don't know. They do try to pay.
Richer than all of us. Let's just say that, right?
Well, the corporation is a group of people, some of whom are fairly wealthy. If they're a successful corporation, why are they rich? Because they're successful. Why are they successful? Because
they control everything, the government.
Is that your power analysis, that people get wealthy through doing something that people want? How about thousands and thousands of years? How about thousands and thousands of years of rich elites dominating their cultures?
History in this. This is a brand new industry.
Do you not have any historical perspective on that?
Why the fear of labeling?
I agree with labeling.
Do you not have any historical perspective that elites have actually being in charge of things by domination? Is that not part of your worldview at all?
Yes, actually, I'm a student of evolutionary biology, and I understand the fact that in any species there are dominant individuals who are either smarter or more powerful, stronger,
or born into privilege,
or lucky, born into wealth. Yes, but a lot of those people lose it very quickly too.
Okay, this is not the issue.
There's a maxim
This is
that
not
the
the
third
issue at
generation
all.
loses all the money from the first generation, and lots of people become poor who inherit a lot of money. If you have to be smart. If you inherit a lot of money, you have to be smart to hang on to it. You have to hire good people to look after it.
Okay, but just so in that analysis, that some people are born into privilege.
Yes,
they're born into privilege.
some people are. I
okay,
wasn't.
and there are certain systems of privilege that operate within a society. Would you accept that?
I don't know what you mean by systems of privilege.
For example, people who have the money, like, are friends with the people who make the decisions about how that money flows, and people who
Yes,
who
as I
make
said,
the
in every species there are people who are dominant over the other. There's individuals who are dominant over the other.
Okay,
a
so
flock of crows.
all right, so it
right?
makes
Take
sense.
a flock of crows, right? There'll be some lead crows. There's an alpha male in a wolf pack, right? What? That's not
George
right.
Bush isn't an alpha male.
Why should that alpha male get to be the dominant wolf?
So
That's not fair.
So the corporations
But
that
George
in
Bush
the,
isn't an alpha male.
Okay, if you say so.
So the corporations that
No,
in
you're
the
saying
United
he-
States do.
I didn't say he was. I said wolf packs have alpha males, and human societies have
alpha males, and ours is run by
hierarchies,
George Bush.
have structures. In India, there's the caste system, right? It's been there for thousands of years.
Right, that doesn't make it
right. No, I'm not saying it's right, but it is a natural fact in
It's hardly
evolutionary
natural, it's
biology.
human created.
No, humans didn't create it. Evolution created it. Evolution created the fact that competition amongst individuals within a species determines which one gets to breed, right? And the most successful ones get to breed.
Or cooperation.
Cooperation as well.
How does cooperation fit into your worldview?
Cooperation. I don't know. People do work with each other
To survive. It's an
That's
evolutionary
the
benefit.
social aspect of the human species. It's like ants work together and bees work together.
But
Termites
why
work
the
together.
emphasis on competition in the way that you
I don't make an emphasis on competition, but competition and cooperation are two sides of the same coin. Right?
Also, we should shut the
working
fuck up,
together
right?
in a team is part of competition because you're competing with the other teams.
But I just want to come back to the train of thought I was on earlier. So
I mean,
you were
this is just simple social analysis.
you were accepting that there are people in privilege in the United States.
Well, that would be pretty obvious.
Okay, and
There's
that
people in privilege in India,
Okay,
there's
yeah,
people
yeah,
in privilege in
I know. I'm
Bangladesh.
just trying to ask you a question because I want to understand something about how you see the world. So you accept people in privilege. You already said that you think the United States is mostly in charge of the world situation. So on top of the pack, so to speak,
The
in the
most
world
powerful
situation.
nation on earth.
Right.
Yes.
And so the corporations also on top of the pack. Don't you think they might have anything to do with who's at the bottom of the pack and why they're at the bottom of the pack?
Well, when you say the corporations, I mean, are you speaking about munitions manufacturers or are you speaking about people who grow oranges?
Say all the wealthiest corporations.
Well, a lot of wealthy
The Fortune
corporations get wealthy
500,
by
say.
producing food.
Yeah.
And cars, right? The people who make all these cars and all these motorcycles, they're big. Are they bad too?
I'm asking you a question. I'm asking what you think about the systems of power and privilege. Like, I'm asking what you think.
I think it is inevitable in any society that there will be a hierarchical structure and there will be rich people and poor people. It's been that way since the beginning of time. I would like to see it evened out on a global basis. I'd like to see the people in the developing countries get more work.
How about in East Timor? It worked, and what we do, we finance Indonesia so they can come and take away that kind of system that worked. That's why there's this.
Which system worked?
In East Timor.
That didn't seem to be working too good.
Yeah, because we financed Indonesia so they would come in and fuck shit up. That's how it is. That's why those kind of systems don't work anymore.
United Nations mission.
That's why the pyramid is there,
the
the Illuminati. Yes, it was.
May I ask you a question about your ideas
That was
on
a
power and
civil war.
responsibility? I would really like to ask you a question about your ideas on power and responsibility because earlier on I heard you defending people who are obese, and you said that you can't blame it all on them, that it might be genetic. It's a very
It's a complex issue, yeah.
Yes. And then you turned around and you said that people are poor in Africa because of tribal factions and dictatorships. You basically said it's their own fault if they're poor in Africa, but obese people in the United States.
No, I didn't say it was their fault. It's not poor people's fault that they're poor.
Really?
Although some poor people lift themselves up and get out of the ghetto. Right? Some people do that. Some people become soccer stars. Some people become movie stars from the ghetto. Right? It is possible.
And how are you
Not that
supposed
many
to
people.
That inspires confidence.
Education is taken away in your country by things like this.
Like by what?
Well, if your education is cut, sort of
Yes.
like the conditions that were in NAFTA, that we're going to shut down the higher education in Mexico, like, how exactly are you supposed to lift yourself up if you can't afford to go to
I
college?
don't know of that situation. I can't imagine
You
that
don't
it's
know
true.
that situation? Well, that's really interesting.
NAFTA was going to shut down higher education.
Free higher education.
Free higher education.
Oh, free higher education. Well, that's a different matter.
It's only for the rich then?
Yes, it is.
Only
Someone
for
has to
rich
pay
people?
for it. It isn't free. Someone's paying
Our
for
tax
it.
money should pay for it.
Yeah, well, if
I
it's
get to go on the inside.
Get into college if somebody had to, if there's no offer of free.
People do, and there's lots of programs to help people get into college if they're living in poverty. There's lots of programs, government and private. I work with the Ford Family Foundation. It's a foundation that was based on the wealth that was created in an Oregon logging company. This foundation puts 400 children who have difficult histories through college every year. They take people who've grown up in single parent families or have health problems, or just for some reason or other they've had really difficult lives. They take 400 a year and put them through college, and I've been part of that program. So there are people who are doing good things, and the unfortunate thing is a lot of them are here at this conference. People who are doing good things. Right? They're doing good things in AIDS research, they're doing good things in cancer research, they're working on multiple sclerosis, they're working on obesity. Look, nobody works unless they get paid. You have to eat. People have to live.
WK, but like Southern Iowa is a little more
I'll
hilly.
pay it down, yeah. I'll just borrow my friend's mountain bike.
Oh yeah, totally.
I don't know who's been
Most of the drug developments are actually slight variations on the drugs to get past the obstacles of patents that are held and licenses that are held by different corporations. Most of it is actually battling out over turf.
I know you think the pharmaceutical industry is imbalanced and negative things.
How do you feel about patents on human
I
genes
think
then?
imbalance.
How do you feel about patents on human genes and the fact that if the future of medicine is, as the pharmaceutical industry suggests, going to be based on that?
That is a huge issue. There's a whole wing of this conference on bioethics.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out stem cell issues, the issues of cloning. Not human cloning, because no one is interested in doing that.
A lot of these people are interested
they're
in
not
doing that.
interested in human cloning. Why would you clone a human in the first place?
Well,
There's no reason to do it. No, it doesn't make anything bigger. It makes you exactly the same as the other one was, only it would be younger. If you clone people, you get a whole bunch of younger ones that look like they did when they were kids. It's stupid. No, nobody wants to clone anybody. Everybody wants to be different. It's one of the funniest aspects of human nature is that we are all 99.99% identical in our genetic makeup, and we spend our whole lives trying to look different and be different and have an individual character.
Chemical technologies here in the conference today.
I think they're doing a great service to humanity is what they're doing. So see, I think in
What is
balance,
humanity? Is that the reason why you left the environmental movement? You wanted to be different?
I think that
you wanted to be so radically different to everyone else in the environmental movement that you work for the corporations. Is that what's actually at the root of this? I know, I'm speculating. Oh, well, I'm mocking you.
You are mocking.
Yeah.
It's not polite.
I'm not polite personally.
I believe that the medical establishment, the pharmaceutical industry, the whole healthcare system, in balance, is more positive than negative. There are negatives in every system. There are always trade-offs. There's always compromises. There's always politics. There's always greed. You know,
but what's happened here is that the greed has taken over.
No,
no one here
Where's the greed
wants
taken over?
is opposing science. No one here is opposing research.
you
No
are.
one here wants the science to disappear. No one here is a Luddite. But people here want science to be controlled by the people, not by the corporations. And that's a very different system, and it happens. It happens with the public research. It happens in Europe. It happens. No, we want to control funding and
control us by
people want to control the direction of science. A democracy. There's nothing democratic about what's going on in there. There's nothing democratic about.
Is there a particular organization that you think should control the scientists?
I'll give you an example. How about research universities, for instance?
Many of them do work in research universities.
But the commercialization and the profit and the direction of the research is set by corporations, not by society.
Okay, let's go.
Let's talk about let's pick a thing: hydrogenated vegetable oil, for example. The things that brought us trans fatty acids. The things that brought us. The corporations that brought the food system to its knees and then took over and brought in hydrogenated vegetable oil.
We have the safest food system that's ever existed right now. food people have been very good at getting the toxins out of our food.
They put trans fatty acids
No.
in.
Macaroni and cheese.
And these
That
people
thing
are
that you
figuring
said
out how
caused
to
harm.
engineer them out.
Yes, but they put them in the first place. Same way as they're giving people cancer with the agricultural chemicals, and now they're looking for ways to produce the cancer treatment drugs.
Let me just talk
They're
about
creating
one
the
example,
problems.
okay? An example where corporations are not involved, other than in a humanitarian way. That is golden rice. Let's talk about golden rice for a minute, okay? I'll tell you, I am a friend of the inventor of golden rice, Dr. Ingo Potrikas, a Swiss scientist who works for the government. He does not work for a multinational corporation.
Government and corporation, same thing.
He works for the Swiss government. He is a humanitarian. His hobby is photographing birds. He has 850 species of birds in his library that he has photographed himself. He is a middle-aged, middle-income, mild-mannered scientist, very conservative. He wears tweed jackets, right? He knows that 500,000 children go blind from vitamin A deficiency every year. He became aware of that as a scientist. Another 200 million or so suffer from vitamin A malnutrition in Asia and Africa mainly because of their dependence on rice as their main energy source as a carbohydrate. They don't get enough vitamin A, and rice has no vitamin A in it, right? So he took 2 genes from a daffodil, the genes that make daffodils yellow. That yellow color is beta-carotene, which is the precursor to vitamin A. Vitamin A is an absolutely essential nutrient for human survival. We would die if we didn't get beta-carotene in our diet. That's why carrots are good for your eyes, and that's why the kids go blind, because they're not getting the carotene, vitamin A, which is necessary for eyesight. But there's all kinds of other chronic symptoms from vitamin A deficiency. So he took those 2 genes from a daffodil plant and put them in a rice wrap.
Wouldn't it also
Just a minute, I'm telling you what he did.
Hey, because they're recording, maybe Raj or just one person respond to him, and then they'll get the other side.
I think if you think there is a better way to get vitamin A to these people, please do it.
They should eat eggs.
Please do it.
I mean, the reason that this is an appalling idea is that you're reducing the diet of people throughout South Asia who, by the way, don't want golden rice.
No, let him finish. He had a
golden
big
rice.
Of course they do.
Golden rice is totally unacceptable. White rice is the food of choice, and you're forcing people to eat inferior food. But the reason that this is so insidious,
you're a fool.
Listen, everyone's recording on the cameras. Let him speak. You spoke for about 5 minutes.
I have not finished.
You spoke for about 5 minutes. Let him speak.
So insidious is that you want to reduce the diet of the people of South Asia only to rice.
That is
the
not
reason
true.
that people are
the
so
reason
poor
they
in
have
South Asia
vitamin A deficiency
is because they
their
cannot
diet
afford
is
eggs.
only rice.
Exactly.
Right.
And the reason that they
So why don't you give them the money they need to buy the eggs?
Because are you going to walk around the villages handing them the yellow rice? Is that? I mean, it's
No,
the same thing
they
you're
are
saying
going
to
to plant it and grow them themselves. It's going to be given to them free. Yes.
I understand,
I didn't
golden
finish my
rice-
story.
Move up on the sidewalk, please. We're building up traffic. Move up on the sidewalk.
The golden rice, where in the rice plant is the vitamin A that you're talking about, the other nutrients? It's in the hull, isn't it?
Sorry.
It's in the hull, or is it in the actual rice grain itself?
In golden rice, it's in the grain.
I was understanding it was in the hull,
No.
but they polish that part off anyway.
One of the problems with rice is they have to polish it in order for it to keep, because it goes rancid really quickly if they leave the hull on it. The hull is actually very nutritious, but it can't be.
No. How do they absorb it without the fats in their diet?
It will absorb it.
How?
The international.
How do they absorb it without the fats in their
their
diet?
stomachs. The International Rice Research Institute, right, is in the Philippines.
So who has to buy this?
They don't have. There's going to be given
So
to
it's
them.
just gonna be given. So these people. Earlier you said this is for profit. So everyone has this job to.
No, I said I was giving you an example of a humanitarian effort in the GMO
So you're saying these
area.
people are doing this for free? I think not.
Yes.
These people are here for money. This is their career.
Ingo Potrikas.
Who's going to give them this rice you're talking about that supplies vitamin A? It's not for free. You're driving them deeper into poverty.
They're going to get it for
You
free.
are driving them deeper into poverty.
Well, I'm sorry, but they're going to get it for free.
Every farmer forever is going to get it for free.
I hope so. I hope vitamin A gets in all the plants.
It's not going to happen like this. These people
economically enslaved by the seed producers. Are they going to be able to keep growing their own food and planting their seeds
seeds again. They have to go back every year and buy new seeds with new fertilizers.
And the only people that can buy these are people who have substantial amount of income. That means everything is profit driven. None of these.
I don't think you were listening to the conversation we were having.
Sir.
No,
I was standing right there.
I was talking about golden rice and the fact that
is vitamin A deficiency and the implementation of vitamin A into the rice. But then again, none of this research is done for free, sir. What is the corporation going to do? I know they're not going to give this away for free.
Actually, they are. Any farmer who makes less than 10,000 US a year will be given the golden rice for free. Any farmer in a developing country.
That is a pretty cheap public relations campaign.
No,